All right, NXT, a okay show. I'm not gonna tell you it was great, but it was not bad. It was not a bad show, and you could watch it, and you wouldn't have that much of a problem. It has good build going into Judgment Day, which is only 1 week away from now. Saturday's Judgment Day. We're getting a good amount of content going into it. Do I believe they could have done something different? Yes. Do I wish they'd done something different? Yes. But overall, it was all right. Let's start with Jade versus Bayley. Cora Jade versus Bayley. A sloppy match. It was a bit sloppy. Either it was because of Jade being a little sloppy or a little bit of Bayley being sloppy. I mean, it's not like they haven't worked together at least once or twice already before this. But it was a bit sloppy. Now, seeing that Roxanne came out as the old school Bayley and using the old school Bayley music was alright, and that's a good distraction. In the end, now, because of that distraction and that Jade won, it's going to be a fatal four-way. And Roxanne did not like that. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Let me give it to you like this. Am I looking forward to this match? No. Not because none of the wrestlers are good. It's because it still doesn't feel developed enough. It feels like the one person that should be more developed is not, and that is Julia. Julia just doesn't feel developed enough. As I said before, the major issue they had last year, they had Julia, Stephanie Shafir, Vakir, and Zarya all come in within about 2 to 3 months of each other. It was too close together. There's not enough time to develop Julia or Stephanie or Zarya. It just didn't feel developed. And that's a major problem I have with Julia. Not because I hate her, it's just they just didn't develop her enough. Next, three-way. And this is supposed to begin to set up a match for Axiom and Frazier. I'm not calling them, no, I don't like Fraxium. Oh, I just did it. I don't like it. It just doesn't roll off the tongue for me personally. We got Hank and Tank. We had the No Quarter Catch crew, and we got Briggs and Nira Mora. Is it Nira Mora? Idam Mora. Nira Mora. I will get his name eventually. I'm bad with names. Hell, I'm surprised I know my own name. But I will get Briggs' partner's name down. Okay, match. I will tell you, I was not surprised to see them be the ones to win. But here's the thing. You look at Frazier and you look at Axiom. At this point, right now, all they've done are generally matches. They have no real storyline and they have no real... They have a certain character, but there's no storylines to go with that character. You can't just have character and just matches. It's no better than AEW. It feels empty. They need to have a storyline. And I'm sure you're going to say, dude, them always having problems where either Frazier's always doing something dumb, getting them into trouble. They've already gone past that. They need something more. And to be honest, at this point, both of them have been on the main roster of NXT long enough that they're ready to go to the main roster. Does that mean they'll have any space for them on Raw, SmackDown? I do not know. But at this point, after they've already gotten rid of the Authors of Pain, and I will talk about them eventually in a Gump Goodness. Yeah, it's a new concept I'm trying. Gump Goodness. I will have my first video of Gump Goodness. I'm still getting used to saying Gump Goodness. It'll be of, I'll leave it, you'll find out. But seeing that they're gone, that makes one less tag team on the main roster where I think Axiom and Frazier should move on. Next, JDC versus Alexis King for the Heritage Cup Championship. No more Heritage Cup. It is now Championship. I do believe eventually they're going to turn that into a belt. The Heritage Cup Championship must be turned into a belt eventually. I don't believe they're going to do it yet, but I believe they will eventually. Now, This is a one-match sudden death. No more rounds. I just believe they wanted to streamline it because since the matches were so long, they think they want to make more time for everyone else. And doing this, even though it would make it more prestigious in a certain extent, they just don't want to drag it out. They're now making it a sudden death type of thing. I wish this was done on... Guys, look, let's make it clear. Is JDC one of the best wrestlers they have in TNA? No. But he is someone that is well known in both shows. He's done very well in the system, and he's done very well when he was Fandango. And honestly, I would have liked to see this at Judgment Day. I would have liked to see them go to Judgment Day and do this match. They could still have the same outcome. To be honest, I wish they didn't, because I truly believe that if they let the Heritage Cup Championship be put on TNA, they could literally transition it to a title on TNA. Not TNA. Look, I would have liked to see TNA have that option for NXT to make it interesting for also TNA, that they initiate the title there and then bring it over back to NXT, where either you would have a Lexis King to try and get it back, or better yet, would it be best that Charlie Dempsey do it? I truly do believe, because his dad could be included in it, and he could go over to TNA. That would really help the company over there. I don't think they've had I don't remember how long it's been. I think he did appear in TNA maybe once or twice. I could be wrong when it comes to Charlie's dad. Let's make it very clear. I don't remember if he was over there, but I do believe he was there maybe once or twice. But it would be great if we were going to have his dad and him show up there to try and get the Heritage Cup Championship back. But this is just me. You guys tell me below. I'm just saying. I would have liked William Regal just to show up there. And then you can have Charlie go with him. And then you can transition the cup into an actual title that could be better than most AEW championships. I'm just saying. Moving on. Let's talk about the segments in the back. Eddie Thorpe being pissed and really want revenge for what has happened to him. It's okay. Do I like it? It's not bad, but it's not really one of the best work I can see from somebody. But at least it is something. Then we get Trick Williams making it very clear, because Eddie Thorpe wanted a strap match. Now Trick said, I'll do it and I'll whoop that ass. I kind of wish there was something extra to go with it. Like an extra stipulation, but I doubt they're going to move Trick to the main roster, and I know they're not going to move Eddie Thorpe to the main roster either. He's not ready, and Trick, I just don't believe they have anything for him on the main roster anyway, so there you go. Here's where it gets a little bit difficult. What can I say about Ricky Starks? I'm happy as hell. He's no longer stuck at home. He's free from his contract, and now he's gone to NXT TV. Look, guys, I've known Ricky Starks before JD even started talking about him on his show, or Just Alex. Not saying they probably didn't see him, but they didn't really think much of him, maybe in NWA, because that's when I saw him in 2018, when he was going after the NWA Television Championship. I knew when I saw him, just like MJF, when I saw him in the National Wrestling League, I knew that MJF was going to be something. I knew Ricky Stark was going to be something. You can check my channel. You have to go and look for it, because I didn't leave I don't think I left a playlist for the National Wrestling League and for NWA. I do believe I did NWA, but I don't think I did a playlist for it. You would have to look for my NWA videos, and you will see for yourself. I talk about Ricky Starks, and I talk about a guy named MJF, who wore a scarf, who seemed to be interesting. I said it before anyone else. Me. Now, I'm not saying there weren't other people who noticed, but there were nobody who was reviewing NWA, and there was no one who was reviewing National Wrestling League. That was me. So I said it before anyone else. Now, of course, when they went to Hog, because MJF went to Hog, also a Ricky Starks probably went to Hog, or went to MLW, maybe to be seen at least maybe once before he went to AEW for both of them. I saw them first. So I do have that distinction. Doesn't mean that I'm a big guy, it just means I did it. And I was glad to see him there. I'm glad to see that he's getting set up to be used. Let's just hope he'll be used correctly, because already AEW screwed his ass over. Let's just hope they don't do it here. Because let's make this very clear. Even with 10 people already removed so far already from the roster, does not mean that he will be utilized on the NXT roster a lot and then move to the main roster. It counts on how they're going to use him. Devon Evans, after being seen by his doctor, is now allowed to wrestle at a Vengeance Day. But he's been told if he gets the same impact or injury in the face, he will be out for an extended period, and a good possibility he will not be allowed to wrestle again. And Ava told him that, and he says, I don't care. So she made him sign she made him sign a waiver, kind of like saying this is a non-sanctioned match, that if anything happens, WWE is not liable. So he signed that bitch quick, and now we got what we want. Now, am I interested in seeing how far they're going to go with Devon Evans? At this point, yes. Because of what they've done with Ethan Page, trying to set him up to be something. And I'm hoping that Ethan Page will finally get a much more stronger push. But this is just me. What else? If I'm forgetting anything, I'm sorry. Oh, yes. Almost forgot. Before the final match, Uma Febe and the A-Town Down Under acting like they could not function together. I will say it looked decently believable between A-Town Down Under going up against each other. A lot of people have been wanting to see what they teased, almost a year ago, that Austin Fury and Grayson Waller were just going to break up, and maybe he would turn Austin to a face. Now, I'm not telling you that would have been the best way, but they teased it. Now they did it again. And it was to trick Uma Femi, who got his ass handed to him by both. But they made it very clear before it was over, when you saw Grayson holding that title, and then an Austin holding the title. When it comes down to it, it's going to be a fight eventually between the two. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. They'll probably still work together. They'll take out Uba Femi. As they said, they're going to bury him under the announce table with a whole bunch of chairs and everything. I truly believe sooner or later they will have this. Do I believe it's the wisest thing to do? I can't tell you. It depends if they're going to really book them well. And right now it's not too bad. Not great, but not too bad. Final match. We get Ridge Holland versus the Don and Stacks. Pretty much apologizing for what he acted. And the Don said, don't worry about it, I'm fine. Just remember, I gotta do this alone. And we get the match, which throughout the entire show, the matches have been generally alright. Except for Bayley and Jade. They were sloppy. There's no way around it. You can't hide it. They were sloppy. But it was not that bad. But it was still sloppy. Here the cage, a few points where you could see there was a little bit of sloppiness between the guys. But it wasn't too bad. The cage match was pretty good. It was the second one in history for NXT. At least this version of NXT. And what do we get? We get the Don retaining. But then Ridge Holland beats the crap out of Stacks. Then Crucifino and him chase him down. And then we get Shawn Spears with his crew trying to go in to destroy the Don. We got Izzy Dane. We got Rizzo in the ring. Izzy grabs the crowbar, clips him, messes up his leg, and then the beatdown happens. Of course, Crucifino and Stacks cannot get back in the ring, but they don't need to get back in the ring because they now set this up for the North American Champion. I'll tell you this. This is a title they're focusing on a little bit more than the world title, which it's basically their IC championship. They're trying to make it important. Am I interested? Yes, I am interested. Now that Izzy Dame has now changed sides, the question is going to be what they're going to do with Izzy Dame. And we still got the problem with Stacks. I just don't agree that Stacks is going to stay as Stacks. I do believe the underboss is going to possibly finally portray a Tony D'Angelo because he's been acting very out of sorts. I truly believe that point is coming. Do I believe it's necessary? Yes. Just like what happened with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, I said it myself. Melo needed to eventually go to the main roster. Trick needed to get built up. Now, Stacks has been developed not too much different than Trick. And it's eventually time for Stacks to go off on his own and do something. Now, will they do something? I don't know. I mean, let's make this very clear. We had some good matches. Now, I know I could talk about Zarya with Lakita Alliance, and the problem I have is this. I gotta say this. I know I can talk about Lakita Alliance and Zarya. Here's the problem. I knew that Lakita was going to lose. There was no way she was going to win. It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't. There's just no way it was going to happen. And I just felt it was too telegraphed. You got two big-ass women that you should basically make it that they basically drawed. That would have been a better situation, but since they're pushing Zarya, there was no way they were going to do it. They just weren't. And I just didn't feel like it was important to talk about other than this. And understand, I love me Lakita Alliance. Hell, I love me Soruka. But unless they're going to do something with Lakita, who just came back but doesn't feel important, but then they're pushing Zarya, who really doesn't feel important either because, like I said, when it came to Zarya, Julia, and Stephanie Vakir, they all came within 3 to 4 months of I think it was 3 months of each other. Three months. I think it roughly near 3.5 months. But all of them came together so quickly, there's no development for any of them. So this is how I feel. Now, I know I also could talk about what's going to be happening with the Female North American Championship, but I'm going to leave that to marinate. Yes. Kiani Jordan wearing a top that shows a nipple. Then you see what's going on with what they're going to be doing with Petrovic, what they're going to be doing with Parker, but I'm going to leave that to marinate. But this is just me. Peace.